Michael, I guess how do you sort of explain the performance that the boys put up on Saturday?
I suppose it's pretty tough to explain why it happened. It was a terrible day at the office, and they played really well. So I think we broke down in a few areas, and I think they can be fixed. So just really looking forward to playing on Friday night and getting back out there.
Job hinted in the aftermath that there's going to be plenty of soul searching this week at the club.
Oh, well, definitely. Any time you go down by that much, you have to have a real good think about what happened. And all the players and all the coaches are very disappointed with what happened, and yeah, for had a long time to think about it.
As you say, obviously Carlton did play very well, but was the effort just simply not good enough from Essendon?
Yeah, I think the way we performed definitely isn't good enough. You shouldn't lose by that margin at any stage, and I think that we did play against a fantastic team with a fantastic midfield, and they played really well. But at the end of the day, if we play like that, we're going to lose to anybody. So it wasn't ideal.
What was the mental state of the playing group after the game and coming into training today? What's the group like?
Oh yeah, obviously really flat. It's hard enough to lose it at any time, let alone like that. So the playing group are really disappointed, but on the same page, really looking forward to playing again on Friday.
How frustrating the last 6 or 7 weeks been? I mean, it's only made a couple of wins towards securing that final spot and hasn't been able to come about. Has it been, looking back on that period?
Yeah, it's been tough. What you want to do is play finals footy, and that's still a glimmer of hope for us. So we've got 2 more games left, and win both, you never know what could happen. But getting back to your question, it has been a tough time. We've played, I think, at times some good footy. I saw over in Adelaide we were really good, really competitive. But again, on the weekend we weren't. So it's been tough.
How do you get the confidence levels back to a point where you actually can be in a position to win a game and then another?
Well, I think each week we've got a few players back, and I think this week we'll get a couple more, and we'll be back to close to full strength, which is always nice to get your good players out in the park. And I think just getting a few more back will add to those confidence levels.
You're scratching your head a bit how you can go from 8-1 into a position where it looks like now you're going to miss finals.
Yeah, I suppose so. Halfway through the year we're in a really good position, and I suppose a few things happened that weren't ideal, and now we're just clinging on. So I suppose it's been a bit of a shock, and it's been pretty tough. So as I keep saying, we're just looking forward to getting back out there and putting our best foot forward.
Now a couple of days after, how's Dustin Fletcher looking?
Yeah, he doesn't give much away. Fletcher's pretty quiet, and he's always sort of just pottering around, but he looks pretty good. I honestly don't know how he's tracking, but he looks all right to me.
Paul Hamilton said on the radio this morning you've been forced to play underdone players at times this year. How big an effect has that had, particularly in the last 6 or 7 weeks?
Yeah, well, it's hard enough to play AFL footy at the best of times, let alone when you're not quite right. So it does. I suppose it does have an effect, but I suppose you never really know how much of an effect it's going to have because yeah, no, it's a tough one. So I suppose that it's always nice to play at full strength and when you're ready to go, but it can't always be like that.
Well, there was a lot of talk today about whether or not you guys have actually improved this year. Is that fair, or how much do you think you've improved this year, and where have you improved?
I think we've improved a hell of a lot. You saw the first half of the season, we played some fantastic footy, and then I suppose the back half hasn't been as good. So I think we've improved a lot, and the development of our younger players has been really good. So I think if we keep moving forward, yeah, there's good things to come.
How about your own year? You've been happy with that? How that's been progressing?
No, not really. It's been up and down. I've played some good footy at times and kicked a few goals. And on the other hand, I've missed games through injury and some poor form as well. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster, and it's pretty disappointing for me.
How much has the injuries had an impact in your own year?
I suppose you lose your continuity. It's once you play week in, week out, you sort of get into a bit of a groove, and you get some confidence. And I haven't been lucky enough to have that, but I suppose it's always next week.
A lot's made of where you play your best footy. In the second quarter there, when the ball's streaming into their forward line, would you have liked to be there and in the back line, especially with Fletch down? Is that something that part of the action, maybe more, especially in those circumstances?
Well, look, I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll probably say it 1,000 more. I'm comfortable at either end, and it doesn't really bother me. And I think that I'll do what I'm told, and if Hurley says go down back, I'll go down back. So it's I suppose it comes down to what they think's best for the team and what's I suppose best for me.
Given what was at stake on the weekend, it was against an arch rival, the final sort of winning margin. Is it one of the most disappointing losses you've played in?
Oh yeah, I think so. It was I suppose almost like a mini final, and to perform like that was very disappointing.
Yes, Mark Thompson said that last week, that he feels this group struggles to deal with expectation and a bit of pressure of big games, and it seemed to be the case again on the weekend. Do you feel that's sort of an accurate call?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've seen it a few times. I suppose the final last year was very similar to the weekend. It was a big game with a fair bit on the line, and yeah, to perform like that is pretty disappointing.
Heard he's been really measured, I guess, in front of the media. What's he been like behind closed doors? I mean, was there a bit of any anger or any emotion after the game or during the game, or because he seems fairly measured about the loss and the year so far?
I know it is always pretty measured, but in saying that, there's a lot of emotion in the footy club. You train for months, you play a whole season, you put your heart into it. So there's always going to be some emotion and some feeling in what he's got to say.
Have you got a theory on why defensively for 2 years in a row you've been pretty good for half a season and it's just totally fallen away, like all right across the ground?
Oh, no, I don't. If I did, I suppose we would have tried to change it by now, but so that's a question that I'd love to be answered.
What can you change as a member of the leadership group now? Probably takes upon you 5 or 6 guys to change things in the next couple of weeks. What do you think you can?
Yeah, definitely. I suppose we had a meeting this morning, and there's 2 weeks to go, and hopefully there's more to go. So all we can do is try and play the footy that we want to play, and really go about the game plan as much as we can.
There's Paul Hamilton said on SEN this morning. There's a review already underway into the fitness and conditioning and process that you've gone through. A lot's been made of the soft tissue injuries. Has there been much talk about the players, amongst the players, about how much injury toll they've had, and has it been just a lot of frustration in the group? And will you be in that review mentioning any key areas that you think you can change from a playing point of view, from a player's side of it?
I suppose from the playing side, we'll sort of worry about that at the end of the season. We've still got some footy to be played, and we've got, I suppose, some things coming up that we sort of have to focus on before sort of the review of the season. So it's I'm sure we'll look into it at the end of the year, but for now we're focused on Richmond on Friday night.
Is the playing group tired? They appear to be not a lot of energy in games at the moment.
I suppose that most teams would be pretty tired coming towards the end of the season, and it is a long year, so I think the boys did look a bit flat on the weekend, but in saying that, I think most teams would have a fair bit of fatigue this time of year.
And I guess it's still mathematically possible, but do you feel you deserve to play finals footy with the second half of the year that you've had?
It's a tough question. You always really want to play finals footy, but I suppose if we perform like we did on the weekend, no, we don't deserve to be there. But in saying that, if we play the way we know we can, I think we do.
Thanks, Michael.